Welcome to Political Beatdown. Ben Meiselas, joined by Dina Dahl. Dina, thank you for taking the place of Michael Cohen, although no one could replace him, but you can take his place while he is testifying today. A historic day to have you here and to give your commentary on what went down on Political Beatdown, the show I co-host with Michael Cohen. I want to turn it over to you in a moment, Dina, but I think it's important that I give you my opinion and reflect on Michael Cohen's testimony over the past 2 days since he's testifying. As he's one of my closest friends, he's someone who I've got to know, co-host a show with, someone who I've grown to, really admire. A very unexpected friendship between us. That's if you asked me back in the day, would I be close friends with Michael Cohen? I would tell you, I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? But life works in mysterious. But also, if you told me you're going to be running a media network, you're not going to be practicing law like you used to, I would tell you, all right, what are we talking about here? Did I eat the wrong grape or something? Was it a grape? Was it a real mushroom what's going on here? Life works in very mysterious ways. But I want to say this as someone who is close to Michael Cohen. I'm so proud of him. I know there were a lot of people who were saying, oh, how is he going to lose his cool and this and that. And I said, are you watching Mea Culpa on the Midas Touch Network? Are you watching Political Beatdown? Are you watching my discussions with Michael Cohen? Have you seen Michael Cohen's past testimony? It does not surprise me, although now there's this media narrative out there that Cohen's doing so good. He's poised, he's confident, he's meticulously going through the documents and the data and the emails and the text messages. He's unfazed by the cross-examination. He's got all of his facts down. Donald Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche, doesn't even know his facts. I'll give you more about that in a moment. I go, this doesn't surprise me. This doesn't surprise the beatdown brigaders. This doesn't surprise people who watch Mea Culpa. This is the Michael Cohen who we all know. And I just want to say this. Michael Cohen, from all accounts, and we don't just give our opinion, oh, Michael Cohen did great at court. No. I've told you, if Michael Cohen didn't do well, I would report on it. I don't care if I'm as close. I would say, here's the problem, here are the issues. But we have now heard from multiple sources inside the courtroom. We have multiple sources who speak to us on background who are in the court. We have multiple sources who work with the Midas Touch Network who are actually in the courthouse, who provide us with information or who are live posting as well. There are others who are not affiliated with our network who are live posting, who are doing a very good job. People like Adam Klasfeld, who isn't affiliated with us, he's doing a great job. Erica Orden, she's not affiliated with us, she's doing a great job. A lot of great perspectives. There's a lot of other people out there, and I'm sorry if I'm not giving you credit right now. On the MidasTouch.com recaps, we give you all credit. But Michael Cohen, poised, confident, meticulous, detailed, making eye contact with the jury, telling them the truth, recognizing where he made mistakes and went wrong in the past, and talking about how he got dragged into this Trump cult, how he felt at the time, how he feels now, acknowledging mistakes made, but going through all the documents and everything in very specific detail. Then the prosecutors would show all of the corroborating text messages, corroborating emails, corroborating phone logs, and all of that. And while Cohen's going through his testimony, you've got Donald Trump, Dina, falling asleep in the courtroom. Donald Trump, I mean, the lawyers are trying to give Donald Trump like photographs of crowd sizes. Hopefully that keeps him awake. But this is Harry Littman, who's with the Midas Touch Network. He's in the courtroom. And here's what he says. Trump looks out, eyes closed, drooping mouth. Erica Orden writes, with Todd Blanche, Trump's lawyer, several minutes into his cross-exam of Cohen, Trump is slouched in his seat, his eyes seemingly closed and his mouth slack. Ben Kochman, or Kochman from the New York Post, Murdoch property, says Trump has been slouched at the defense table yet again with his eyes closed, this time for more than 15 minutes. And Adam Klasfeld, who's in the court, says quite a split screen between this and Cohen's maintained eye contact with jurors, now in a lengthy monologue about his location, monitoring for an ankle bracelet in connection with his sentencing. And Norm Eisen is in the courtroom as well. And Norm Eisen has basically said that the jury seemed actually bored of the testimony, of the questioning, rather, on cross-examination. They were riveted during the direct examination. On cross-exam, they said Todd Blanche, Trump's lawyer, was like putting the jury to sleep on cross-exam of the main witness, but they were riveted on direct exam when Cohen was going through all of these things. And one of the things the prosecutors did was they made sure that they introduced all the things they anticipated that would happen on cross-exam. And then Todd Blanche's cross has just been long and boring and disjointed and frankly a little bit kind of weird. And like it started with like Todd Blanche saying, "Mr. Cohen, my name is Todd Blanche. You and I have never met, Mr. Cohen, but you went on TikTok and called me a crying little shit. Didn't you, Mr. Cohen? You called me a crying little shit." That's how he starts off his cross. How weird. And then Cohen's like, I don't know, that sounds like something I would say. And then there was an objection. And then Todd Blanche goes, "Isn't it true that you referred to Donald Trump as dictator douchebag?" And Cohen very calmly said, "I don't know, sounds like something I said." And Todd Blanche, Dina, spent so much time on questions like that. And I think the jury's like, are you going to talk about like this case? And one of the other moments where Todd Blanche missed big was he tried to act like Michael Cohen was selling merch, like Convict 45 merch and all this other stuff. It was our merch store. So on cross-exam, he showed Cohen our merch store and said that, "Isn't it true that this is your merch?" And Cohen's like, "No, that's store.meidastouch.com. What are you talking about? That's not my merch." Like, how are Trump's lawyers not doing the most basic research? And by the way, I think that made a big impression on the jury, where it's like, oh my God, Trump's lawyers are just lazy? Are they like idiots? Like they didn't simply look at store.meidastouch.com and see that it's not a Cohen thing, it's a Midas Touch thing. Then you had Alina Habba passing Trump's lawyers, some strange stuff. But anyway, enough of me. I just want to say at the outset, I'm proud of Michael Cohen. I think the Brigaders are proud of Michael Cohen. The country is proud of Michael Cohen. Just speak the truth, methodical, and speak the truth. That's it. That's all we ask here on the Midas Touch Network and this pro-democracy community. Dina, how you doing?
Well, I'm honored to be here. The fact that I got to do those fifth, I'm like, okay, check box. Hashtag goals. And I haven't met Michael Cohen, but Ben, I've known you for years. And the fact that you say he's a good guy to me speaks volumes, because you are such a good guy. So, and just as like an objective observer, he has done phenomenal on the stand. I mean, he's a professional. He is a lawyer. This isn't the first time he's told this story. He's told it several times. So why there was this idea out there that he couldn't show up and meticulously tell his truth, I don't really understand it, but good for him that he did. And a few things about the testimony, today in particular, when he was talking about what President Trump told him, either like directly or through these intermediaries after the FBI raid, about how, don't worry about it, I'm president, my attorney general, Jeff Sessions, will take care of it. There were so many conversations along that theme. And my reaction to it was actually kind of getting upset that the federal government didn't actually follow through and indict Trump over this, because that is so dangerous to our democracy. Like, thank goodness Alvin Bragg brought this case, because here you have somebody who was willing to cheat the campaign laws, right? Filed the falsification of the documents to cover it up. And then once he's in power, he wants to use the office of the attorney general to like cover his tracks. And it's just disturbing. And I know we know this about Trump, but hearing it in a courtroom, somebody under oath saying, I'm president, I will take care of it, just should never happen in our democracy. And he should be getting such a stronger indictment than this indictment. And so that's just like a takeaway for today. And the jury didn't miss that either, right? I mean, how many people want our president to be so abusive of their power? And then I thought the cross-examination was essentially the summary of it was, Michael Cohen, you are too angry at Donald Trump. Like, how you are angry at Donald Trump. And it seemed so many variations of that. Like you said, the merch and what he said here and what he said there. But to me, I think that's a really easy thing to answer on redirect, because, you know, no matter what he did or didn't do, he is the only one who actually suffer the consequences of this conspiracy. Yes, there was this non-prosecution agreement with the David Pecker and the Inquirer, but Michael Cohen actually served jail for his actions in relation to this. He served time. To me, he's the only one that really has justified anger. If I were the only one in a conspiracy that spent time in jail, even though I was not the only one in the conspiracy, I would be mad too. And so to me, like, highlighting that anger is kind of unreasonable, because I think the prosecutor just could be like, hey, are you frustrated because you served jail and nobody else did? And the answer is yes. And I think the jury that was a common sense, reasonable reaction to being the one person who, you know, had their life completely disrupted. Like he said, it affected his family. He had his liberty taken away. That is no joke. And he was not the only one who participated in that conspiracy. I think that evidence is really clear, but he was the only one that suffered the consequences. And I think it's reasonable to be angry about that. And in his direct, I know we've talked about this before, you've talked about this, Ben, but the prosecution did a great job of, you know, not making anybody have to like trust his word, take his word for it. They did phenomenal about backing up everything he said with the documents. And documents are really strong evidence with juries, you know, very strong. It's hard to dispute it. And so I think that so far this has been, you know, really great for the prosecution.
You know, let me tell you a personal story about Michael Cohen. I don't know anyone who speaks so much, and I know lots of people who say how much they love their family. But since I met Cohen, the importance of his family, his kids, how much he loves his wife, how much family means to him being the son of a living Holocaust survivor right now, the time he spends with his parents, the advice that his dad gives him. It was one of the things early on that has nothing to do with any of this, that when I would hear Cohen speak to me about these things, I was really impressed by him. And the longer you get to know Cohen and not media-driven caricatures, I think the more you really get to understand someone who is really smart and intelligent, who loves our democracy, who is authentic, who certainly acknowledges mistakes that were made in the past. And when we have a show like Political Beatdown and we get to hear from him directly, we get to hear his perspective without the media filter. I think that's such an incredible opportunity for him to, you know, be able to share how he feels and to connect with people. And I think the jury is seeing that. Yes, there's all the evidence that's corroboration. Yes, you've got the text records, the text messages, the phone calls, emails, all of the other testimony. I mean, everything that Cohen said is corroborated. But I think that when you get to know Cohen, you get to know someone who actually is very likable and personable, and someone who, you know, who presents very well, and someone who just recognizes the mistakes that they made. It's such an interesting thing, though, I think, about some of these broader issues. And I think it's a big mistake that the Trumpers always make, because they are always on the attack mode. They attack their enemies and they always project the things that Donald Trump has on their enemies, right? So with President Biden, Sleepy Joe, President Biden has dementia, all of these things. when like Donald Trump can't even get through a speech without slurring his words and talking about the late great Hannibal Lecter. Donald Trump, we see like it's like a weird thing to call someone sleepy who's not sleepy. Right? Like President Biden objectively isn't a sleepy person. I mean, you want to say he's an older person, but he's not like, I've never seen him like sleepy. I mean, you want to say, okay, he's older, he walks slower than he used to. I don't know. I mean, at least that's rooted in like, okay, I get it. But Trump here is with all of these descriptions, like passing out in the courtroom with his eyes closed, drooping mouth. And then we think about all that executive time he used to have when he was disgracing the White House. The man was probably just sleeping all day. And that's one of the issues why, like, he quite literally sleeps the whole time and like in a very strange way. So, you know, also they do this, right? They expectations in their opening that Cohen is going to be that Trump's defense lawyers, that Cohen's going to be like the worst. And you're going to meet the worst person ever who's going to come in. So the jury expects they're going to see basically some version of Trump, the way Trump's bringing in MAGA Mike Johnson, the way Trump's acting and behaving in the courtroom, the way Trump's bringing in Vivek Ramaswamy, like they're expecting to see the worst. And then you get someone like Cohen who's just as calm. And it's just another moment where the jury's like, huh? What? Like, they must just feel lied to over and over again. And it seems like the prosecution is trying this case the way they would appear on right-wing media. If they were to go on Fox or Newsmax and treat the audience that way, they're trying to treat a jury like that. But I think that's a big no-no. I think that's my perspective.
I 100% agree with you. In fact, I was thinking today, defense would have been better off not even doing an opening. You know, they don't have to do an opening and they don't have the burden of proof, right? So sometimes you don't see openings in criminal cases. I think they would have been better off because so many things they've said in that opening have now bit them. Like they said that Donald Trump had never had sex with Stormy Daniels. The judge used that as one of the reasons why it was okay to go into so much detail. So that hurt them. And then Stormy Daniels was so credible. I don't think the jury believes that she didn't have sex with Donald Trump. And then they also said in the opening that he was a family guy, right? And whereas his wife has never been shown up, you know, we only have seen Eric, now Eric's wife today. So, you know, if you're going to say somebody's a family guy, you got to have that family like there. Otherwise, you just don't say it. And then they say in the opening how, you know, like Trump didn't know about these reimbursements, but we have a tweet from Trump that was introduced on Friday that he talks about how the payment was reimbursement for the NDA. So I do think that they probably got direction from Trump about saying certain things, but there's been way too much evidence that's counterbalanced them. And to the point about the politicians and Vivek Ramaswamy, Mike Johnson showing up in court today, to me, like that would be the worst defense strategy in a case like this, because your argument is that Trump cared more about his family and not the election. And that's why he made the payment was for the family and not the election. Don't have a bunch of politicians show up and show how much you care about politics. Like, who is not thinking this strategy clear? Like, you don't have family show up, but you have politicians show up. And then you're going to try to argue in closing to the jury that like, oh, he didn't care about the election. This isn't about the election. This is about the family. And you've had like a round of politicians showing up, which completely contradicts it. The thing is you can't lie to a jury. I mean, juries in our system are very good at paying attention to the facts, you know, paying attention to the actual evidence presented, and they see who's showing up in those courtrooms. You have too big of names. It's not like a no-name politician showing up. They recognize these politicians, and they know what that means, that the politicians and Trump are there, you know, connected. You don't want them so connected in this particular case when you're trying to argue that this had nothing to do with election interference, that he really is just a family guy and doesn't care about politics enough. So to me, that was a big strategic miss on their part, having all those people show up for him.
That's so brilliant. This isn't about the election. Now watch as all my guests are politicians and not my family at all. You're so right about that, Dina. I want to take a quick break. When we come back, I got to ask you, do you think that Donald Trump is going to take the stand? Do we think that the prosecution is going to rest this week? I want to hear your perspective. Let's take a quick break.
Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality? Look, I know about sleep quality because I'm sleep deprived. But if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend that you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. It's inspired by NASA. Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so that you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and they're designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, so you get better sleep every night. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. I mean, no more gross odors. You see, Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands. And they feel as nice, if not nicer than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and worse, acne. So sleep clean with Miracle. Go to trymiracle.com/beat and try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo BEAT, that's BEAT, at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, well, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/beat and use the code BEAT to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40%. Again, that's trymiracle.com/beat to treat yourself. And thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode.
And now let's take a quick break to talk about our next partner, Rhone. If you're like me, you understand the pains of finding out what to wear. Let's face it, most clothes are uncomfortable or too tight or never actually the size that you really are, and not to mention the annoyance of trying to put together a good outfit. And when you finally do have a good fit, you can only wear it for a few hours before you have an important meeting or dinner, and then you have to change. Everyone wants to dress their best and look good at all times because, frankly, it's a confidence booster. So here's the deal. Men's closets were due for a radical reinvention, and Rhone stepped up to the challenge. Rhone's commuter collection is the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man. And here's why. Rhone helps you get ready for any occasion with the commuter collection, which offers the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, and polos. You never have to worry about what to wear when you have the Rhone commuter collection. Rhone's comfortable 4-way stretch fabric provides breathability and flexibility that leaves you free to enjoy what life throws your way, from your commute to work to your 18 holes of golf. It's time to feel confident without the hassle. With Rhone's wrinkle release technology, wrinkles disappear as you stretch and wear the products. It's that easy. With the Gold Fusion anti-odor technology, you'll be smelling fresh and clean all day long. And on top of that, Rhone is 100% machine washable, so you can ditch the dry cleaner altogether. I absolutely love Rhone. This has truly become my go-to commuter fit. We're on the move a lot, whether it's jumping from meeting to meeting or catching a flight or an important dinner. The Rhone commuter collection has never let me down. The versatility and overall comfort of the collection is undefeated. And even after I wear it all day, I still feel super fresh because of that Gold Fusion anti-odor technology. The commuter collection can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. So right now, head to Rhone.com/Cohen, that's Cohen, and use promo code Cohen to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to RHONE.com/Cohen, Cohen, and use code Cohen. It's time to find your corner office. And now, back to the video.
Welcome back. We are live. Dina, this is so much fun. We have to keep on. We got to do this more. And I see in the comments how excited everybody is to have you co-hosting this Political Beatdown episode. So what do you think? So Thursday, it's possible Todd Blanche is going to be done with this cross-exam. I think it'll be interesting to see if Todd Blanche actually continues the cross, or if they're going to give it to Emile Bove, because Blanche has been so horrible today. I'm not sure you could switch mid-cross, but I can see Donald Trump being a little bit embarrassed by the performance of Todd Blanche. I wouldn't be shocked if they try to switch lawyers on cross, because Blanche is like just the absolute, like, he's horrible. By all accounts, he's like the worst lawyer ever. And people said he had a good rep. I don't know if he's trying to please Donald Trump, but a very humiliating day for for him. I mean, he's shockingly like, he's like the worst lawyer that there is. But Dina, I want to hear from you. They wrap up Thursday. Tell us, what do you think? I think Alina Habba could do better than Todd Blanche right now, if I'm being that's how bad Todd Blanche is, but whatever. What do you think is going to happen Thursday? Do you think the judge is going to ask Donald Trump if is going to ask, are you going to testify? Prosecution, I think, is resting, they said on Thursday. So what happens next?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. In terms of Donald Trump testifying, I think he's losing this case. And if you were ever going to testify, like a normal defendant might want to risk it, only because his own words have been introduced in evidence so many times already. And that's exactly when a defendant would need to testify to rebut his own words. For example, that tape, it's already been played twice. The conversation with him and Michael Cohen, where he talks about the payment to Karen McDougal. It's his words. They hear that twice. To me, I'm like, Nixon was taken down by the tapes. That tape is honestly, I think, almost enough to convict him here. But then you also have his tweets, right? You have his tweets, you have his tape, you have the Access Hollywood tape being read into evidence. So many words on his part. But the reason why, if he listens to his defense counsel, he won't take the stand is because, he can be impeached with the fact that he lost the defamation lawsuit to E. Jean Carroll because it directly attacks his credibility. He was found essentially to be a liar. And so they can impeach him and say, are you, basically now lying on the stand? You are, have already been found to be a liar. So that, the last thing he wants is testimony and evidence around the E. Jean Carroll case to come in. So it's ironic because he has gotten away with so much for so many years, but all of his legal cases are now culminating in a way to actually take him to task. Because if he hadn't lied about E. Jean Carroll and he hadn't lied about her again, then that judgment wouldn't have been able to be brought in, and he could have more easily taken the stand. And maybe he could have spun a story that convinced the jurors. But because of the prior actions he took, thinking he was above the law, he's now constrained in a way that I think it would be harmful for him to take the stand. But because of his irresponsibility and being willing to defame a woman for no reason other than he wanted to, the jury has got his words on tape. They've been read to, the tweet. Those are really powerful, and they're going to be left unanswered with him not taking the stand.
You think they put on any defense, or could we get a verdict next week?
That is really interesting, because I don't know who they can put on, right? Who is going to really rebut everything that they did. I think that could be one of their stronger arguments, is just say, hey, they didn't prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, rather than put somebody on the stand who cannot fully, answer a question for the jury. The last thing you want is to put somebody on the stand who doesn't truly rebut one of the prosecution's witnesses. I don't think that's what they're going to do, though, only because of their client being Donald Trump. I don't see him being okay with them not saying something in his defense. Even if it strategically could be a good move, I don't see how he could kind of live with that idea of somebody else having, let's say, the last word. That to me is something he probably can't even handle. And who knows? Maybe he's going to be so irresponsible. He's going to want to take the stand and answer it, because I mean, I think he's even been more controlled than I thought he could be. I don't think he's a very controllable defendant. So I could see him saying, hey, I can convince this jury. Let me talk. So I think almost anything goes with this particular defendant. You almost have to like throw away the rule book. But in a typical case, I would say they would definitely not put him on the stand.
Well, you know, so 10 times he's been held in criminal contempt. I guess for him, that's better than 11. So, Dina, we expect this all to wrap up. I mean, we'll have a verdict though by June. I mean, it's very likely we'll have a May verdict. Let me get your prediction, and then also who you're going to give the 2-finger salute to today.
Okay, my prediction is
you don't have to give the 2-finger salute.
Okay, no pressure, right?
You don't have to give the 2-finger salute.
You know, one thing about the timing of this case, I'm impressed with how quickly the prosecution has moved along, because these jurors are, you know, taking time away from their work, from their family. The last thing you want to do is drag on a case. And, you know, the fact that they did Michael Cohen's direct in like a day and a half, I mean, good for them. They are quick. I think juries appreciate that, and it makes their case tighter. So I think they've been great on that. And so to your point, I think we're going to get a verdict sooner than later. I think we're going to get a conviction here. I don't actually think there's any doubt. This is like what I do, right, for a living, as I cover trials, live trials all the time. And to me, this seems, I think we need to prepare the country, to be quite honest. I think there have been, you know, even in the news, a little bit more evasiveness. I think we need to prepare people. This is going to happen. And there's a lot of people out there who are still not paying attention to it enough. I mean, it's hard to imagine in our community who are so plugged in, but there's a lot of people who aren't paying attention to it enough, and they're going to get caught off guard. I think the evidence is overwhelming. I think the prosecution has done a great case. I think we're going to get a conviction. And I think the problem is that people aren't going to be prepared for it. And the after effect of it is going to be a little bit rough. I think there should have been cameras in the courtroom for that reason. I think if there were cameras in the courtroom, more people would have tuned in. It's hard to follow the tweets, right? I mean, I know that's what we do, but it's not so easy to do that. And I think if people, the everyday person, could have watched Michael Cohen's testimony yesterday and today, they would have walked away. Even maybe a MAGA person would have walked away thinking, maybe he's telling the truth. And I think it did a disservice to the country that everybody wasn't able to do that. And for that reason, I think people are going to be a little bit less prepared for the conviction that I think is coming.
Well, I'm not going to give the 2-finger salute, but I'll give a special thanks to you, Dina Dahl. Thank you for co-hosting this. I had a lot of fun. I want to do more shows with you, and so I hope we can co-host more shows together. I really, really enjoyed this. And I want, instead of a 2-finger salute, I want to give a special thanks also to Michael Cohen for his courage on the stand and his honesty. And I also want to give a special thanks to the Beatdown Brigaders. Also, if you want to know where that, just because Todd Blanche gave us the plug, I will give, I need to set the record straight that is not a Cohen merch shop. Store.MeidasTouch.com, which Todd Blanche made an exhibit today. The Convict 45 shirt is not a Cohen merch shop. Store.MeidasTouch.com is the Meidas Touch merch shop. But Todd Blanche, thank you for the plug. Thank you for the advertisement. And thank you for not doing your research and showing the jury how unprepared you are. Store.MeidasTouch.com. You can check it out there. Dina, thank you. Shout out to the Brigaders and shout out to the Meidas Mighty.